So many times your opponents will smash at you and look for the straight reply because that's the easiest shot for you to play. And that's why you need to be able to play it cross-court into space. So in this video, we're going to show you how to hit effective cross-court shots when your opponent smashes at you, as the technique is so important.
Okay, first we're going to break down the technique for when you're stood on the right side as a right-handed player or left side as a left-handed player and your opponent smashes slightly across you to around this area here. We'll also be sharing one huge mistake we see a lot of people make, so stay tuned for that.
Now this shot is a fairly advanced skill, so we're going to assume that you already know some of the fundamentals of doubles defence. But as a quick refresher, you should be in a low position with your legs bent, your body weight leaning slightly forwards with your racket relaxed in front of you in a backhand grip. That's the easy bit, so let's move on to the footwork and hitting action.
So, as soon as you see that the shuttle is travelling towards this area and you want to play cross, you need to turn your hips in this direction to face cross. But you don't actually move your feet, as you often don't have time. So, what do you do next?
Well, as you're moving your hips, you actually need to move your racket hand across at the same time, in this motion. These movements combined help you to prepare earlier and give you the space you need to create power in the shot.
So you're now in this position. You then need to push up with your legs to straighten them slightly. If you don't have your legs bent, then you won't be able to create forwards momentum into the shot, and you'll struggle to generate power. It's essentially like trying to hit a powerful smash stood still. Just after you've straightened your legs, you start to straighten your arm. Then, as with most shots in badminton, you should squeeze your fingers and thumb to increase your power in the shot. Where a lot of people go wrong is leaning back as they strike the shuttle. But if you follow these steps, then your body weight should be leaning forwards. If you want to lift the shuttle, then you need to come under it like this. And if you want to drive it, you should go through the shuttle.
And what about the block? Well, it's really difficult to control cross-court blocks from this side, and why we would actually advise against this shot. It's an area where a lot of intermediate players make mistakes, and the risk generally isn't worth it due to how difficult it is to create the necessary control and power. You actually rarely see this shot being played at the top level too. Now, what about if your opponent smashes more to your body, to around your racket arm shoulder? Well, here you might want to play what we call a brap, which we've already made a video on, so we'll leave a link for that in the description below. And if they smash further over towards your forehand side, then you're going to have to play a forehand. But we'll talk more about this later in the video, so stay tuned.
Now we're going to move on to the technique for when you're stood on the left side as a right-handed player or right side as a left-handed player, and your opponent smashes slightly across you to this side of you. First, you need to be in a backhand grip again. Then for the footwork, you actually have two options. One is from this ready position to slightly turn your hips just before you hit the shot. And the second option is to turn your hips whilst also stepping back a little with your racket leg. Again, literally just before you hit the shot.
Both of these options enable you to change your body and racket positioning from facing forwards and straight to cross-court. We see professional players doing both, so there's no right or wrong here. We'd recommend experimenting and seeing what feels comfortable to you. And you might do both depending on where your opponent smashes and the exact position you're in at the time. If you need some extra time to be able to hit it across, then this is where you might step back.
So, how do you actually hit this cross-court shot? Well, when the shuttle is roughly crossing the net, you should bring your arm back into this slightly awkward-looking position, like you're doing some kind of robot dancing move. You then bring your shoulder forwards and then your forearm and wrist to strike the shuttle cross. From this position, you can play three different shots: a block, a drive, or a lift.
But again, there's a common mistake we often see people make during all three of these shots. And this is straightening your legs and not keeping your centre of gravity low enough, as this can reduce both your power and timing. Now, if you can't take the shuttle early enough to play these shots, but still want to hit it cross-court into the space, then you would have to choose the alternative option of playing a forehand. Here, you should switch to a bevel grip, keep your feet in pretty much the same place, and then turn your hips so that they're facing cross-court. As you turn your hips, you bring your racket arm back and then strike the shuttle cross. We'd recommend either blocking or driving this shot, as lifting it is very difficult.
Now, if the shuttle comes more in front of you, the technique for hitting it cross is the same as we discussed in our doubles defence fundamentals video. If you struggle to generate power in your cross drive and lift, you need to work on your forearm and wrist strength, and also practice these shots in a more controlled routine like either of these.
And what happens if your opponents smash straight down the tram line? Well, this is a very difficult shot to hit it cross, especially to lift it to the back. And this is why we would encourage you to cover your tram line when you're defending on the straight, so that the shuttle is never this much to the side of you. But if it is, then hopefully it's not because of your wrong defensive positioning, and instead that you're moving from the middle of the court. And this would be because the shuttle has just been towards the other side of the court, which means that the opponent at the net actually wouldn't be looking to intercept the straight shot, so you can actually play it straight and you don't need to turn it cross.
And if it is out to the side of you and you do want to play it cross court, well, this shot requires even more forearm strength, and you have to turn your body and really whip your racket as fast as you can to generate as much racket head speed as possible, unless you're playing a block, of course. And this is the same on the forehand side, which we mentioned earlier. So we hope this video helps you improve your cross-court defence. If you found it useful, please drop it a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll hopefully see you on another video very soon. Bye!